Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If you are looking at this video, it's because you've either clicked onto here from a link that you probably got from another page, or you probably got search engine or something. You searched on YouTube for politically motivated topics, or you probably got an email from me if you're one of the small group of people who are in my email book. You have to pardon me here. This is my first time actually making a video here on YouTube, and never was really big into the webcam thing. But sometimes, what can I say? Events get to such that you have to be willing to spread your wings and do new things. Considering the way our world is interlocked today on the internet, and you got people making friendships who've never even actually seen their faces, all held together by common bonds of interest, this is something that I hope and pray will be worthwhile for you and for myself. And I don't intend to keep you long. I just want to basically get everybody here who has a common interest in basically the politics of today, the situation that we find in the United States of America. And just to clarify, if you are of the political establishment class of partisan politics, meaning you profess to be Democrat or Republican, and your whole view of our current situation today is that, well, if we could just get rid of the other party, everything would be peachy keen and fine. If that's your view, this video is not for you. I will save you the trouble. Don't even bother watching the rest of it, because you're only going to get angry, and you're only going to sit there and flame on the boards when it comes to making comments. And then, of course, we go right back to that same old tired political discourse of insults, which we all claim to be our American right, as if we were going to get anywhere by doing this. I think we've had enough left versus right debates. If it would have worked, or could have worked, it would have worked. So, basically, on to the reason why I'm here. I'm doing this because, first of all, many of you may have seen my postings on various political threads on YouTube, people posting videos, but the ones that generally I post on are the ones that are apolitical or anti-political, anti-establishment, meaning those YouTube channels or postings that tend to lean towards looking at the greater problem that the country faces today, and that is simply, we're going downhill real fast and hurry. I mean, who can't see that? And not only do they see that, they also see the trueness of the problem that the politics won't address. That is the destruction of the US dollar, which cannot be by accident. Anybody who understands basic Austrian economics knows that there's no way in the world you can have a country this powerful with this much economic might go down in the way it's going down unless it's orchestrated. Okay? It's beyond debatable at this point. The Federal Reserve is doing exactly what it wants to do, and our government, whether Republican or Democrat, is fully on board, and all they're going to do right now is cover it up with both the left-right debate on how to run the economy. The right saying we need lower taxes so that small businesses can flourish, because 65-70% of the economy is small business, and therefore, so where does small business go, so does the country. Yeah, well, I'm looking at what small business is able to do for the country right now under George Bush's level of tax cuts, which haven't been canceled out, which Republicans are fighting to try to preserve. And from what I can see, even George Bush's small business tax-friendly cuts are not doing much to stimulate the economy. But then, too, I know I'm not supposed to see that. The point here is this. We are in a dangerous spiral downward. And outside a scant few individuals, Ron Paul, if there's people here who are for Ron Paul, you may, even though you're for the left-right system, stay tuned simply because these are things that no doubt you see there's a concern with. The only problem I have with Mr. Paul is he's trying to change the system from within the system. You can't do that, okay? Anybody who's been following Ron Paul knows full well all the Republicans did is either A, let the man run so that he can garner enough support of people on the right so that they can keep faith in a system that is broken beyond repair. And they just simply controlled Ron Paul through the process of party politics and funding to keep him isolated into a small corner so that he would never get the media publicity and exposure and the funding necessary to become a serious contender. Now, I'm quite sure Mr. Paul has to know this because he's inside the system. If I'm outside the system and I can see it, he's got to see it. So either A, that is how they decide to play it, just to keep people's faith in the system out of that radical element that supports him long enough so they can continue this, or B, which I pray is not the case, and that is Mr. Paul is working with them. And he knows he's not going to gain any traction, but he's going to continue to say that those things that are needed to be said, that fringe element that understands the nature of the problems of this country wants to hear from a candidate. He will say that basically to keep them involved in a political system that they'll never gain control of. And he already knows that he's not going to go anywhere. Now, I don't know the man. I'm not in his mind. I'm not in his heart. I'm not there. I'm not saying either way. All I'm saying is whatever choice you have, A, the Republicans are using Paul to keep people involved in the system by letting one man speak the truth, but isolating him through party machinery and financing so that he doesn't go anywhere. Or B, Ron Paul and the Republicans are teaming up together to stage this just to keep control of that radical element that sees the problem and keeps them involved in a system that doesn't work. Either option, you're up the creek without a paddle. It's pointless, okay? But the point here is this. We have a country. It's in a free fall. Well, it's actually not a free fall, but it will turn into a free fall. You cannot do what we're doing in this country to the dollar and not expect there to be repercussions. We don't have enough of a tax base to sustain the nation, even if we were to tax at a level that the Republicans are afraid the Democrats are going to tax. We're beyond that now. You can tax us at almost 100% income and you would not reverse the situation we're in. So this whole issue about tax cuts and raising the tax on the wealthy and all that, it's moot. The problem here is you had a nation that was the wealthiest, most prosperous nation on earth, and in a matter of 70 years, it is now heading into a third world status with a first world knowledge base. Keep that in mind, and first world technology, because I'm going somewhere with this. How did this happen? That's what I want to know. How did this happen? And how did the American people not see it happening when it was happening? Because you can't do this kind of damage overnight. Well, I'd like to forward for people here my view. That last milepost, that sign on the side of the road that was warning us, hey guys, if you don't wake up, you're going to be in some real serious crap in another decade or two. And that was Mr. H. Ross Perot, a man who was strangely silent at a time like this. I mean, I know he's got a website. He's got a website talking about the government and the budgetary crisis it's in, and it's in debt now. I think it's upwards to $16 trillion. Can't even imagine that. $16 trillion worth of national debt, and that's just officially on the books. That doesn't include unfunded